"Run!" yelled Ali. I ran. I ran for my life. This all started so peacefully. A walk in the cemetery on a crisp, quiet evening, just to look at headstones and come up with ideas for our creative writing class. It was October, and the assignment said spooky. So there we were. Ali and I, inseparable since freshman year, did all of our projects together. This seemed so simple. Go to the graveyard at dusk. Look around. Check out the old tombstones to come up with ideas for a creepy story. What could happen? We should have asked ourselves that question with a bit more intent, so off we went, armed with bug spray and flashlights. As we walked further into the massive cemetery, we became more engulfed in the history of the graves, stopping at one grave and then another. Then we stumbled upon a massive mausoleum. It was big enough to be a small church. It must have been over 100 years old, laden with moss and mold-covered brick that had been weathered for years. Decades? Not decades. Generations. The building seemed to have a life of its own, with a second-story turret room and a dusty portico for the delivery of lifeless cargo. It reeked of sadness and regret. We walked up to the heavy solid wood front door, and after struggling with it a bit, it opened with a small groan and a scraping sound, as the damp swollen wood struggled against the concrete floor. As we entered, the darkness enveloped us as if we were stepping into another world. With our flashlights, it was illuminated enough to see several rows of crypts along the wall. Talking out our story and making notes, we read the names on the tombs. John Jacob, August 17th, 1897. Mary Jacob, November 26th, 1903. Virgil Wallace, March 12th, 1913, and so on. Suddenly the hair on the back of my neck stood up. A tingle of goosebumps crawled across my arms. That's when I heard it. The shuffling of footsteps coming from the room behind us. Faint at first, then a slight bit louder. Along with the faint footfalls came something else. Whispering, muffled and unintelligible. I shushed Ali's animated banter and told her to listen. "Is someone else here?" she whispered. I tentatively spoke out. "Is someone there?" No answer. After a moment of debate, I decided it must have been our imagination, or maybe some rats shuffling along the wall. "Let's finish up and get out of here," said Ali. I agreed. Rats were not my thing. We scanned the rest of the names on the plaques in front of the crypts. Sue Ellen Masters, January 11th, 2005. Martin Ellis, August 25th, 2016. Ali Jones? Wait, what? I looked at Ali. What are the odds that someone entombed here had the same name as Ali? Then I saw the date, October 12th, 2024. Today's date. My eyes shifted to the last crypt. The plaque looked as if it was being etched as we looked on. My name, today's date. Suddenly the shuffling footsteps returned, louder this time. So did the whispering, different voices, all saying, "Come with us." We still couldn't see anyone. "Run!" yelled Ali. I ran for my life. The battered building suddenly seemed full of life. It felt as if it were all around us. As we reached the heavy old wooden door, we realized it was closed. How could that be? We would have heard it shut with all of the creaking and moaning it did when we opened it. We could hear the footsteps getting closer as we struggled with the door. The whispering grew even louder still, until it was overwhelming. The large door suddenly gave way as we ran into the night. I screamed as I turned around to see what was following us. Not human. Not human. Just faint images of who they used to be, masked by whatever they are now. Thank God we got away. I suddenly awoke with a start. These dreams have got to stop, I thought. This is not reality. When will this end, I wondered, as I shifted in my velvet-lined coffin and breathed in the musty odours of the mausoleum. The reality is that I may never find a way out.